Today's Cork Today podcast. Phone and text lines are currently closed.
We're off to the Health Hub Times Square in Ballincollig, where our nutritional therapist Anneliese joins me. Good afternoon to you, Anneliese.
Good afternoon, Patricia.
And you're very welcome. The amount of people who've contacted us about a cough that they can't shake. And John Paul tells me you've got one as well that you're finding hard to what's your advice?
Listen, believe me, I've having tried nearly everything myself. It's a very, very sticky cough, and I've noticed it hugely in customers as well. And it seems to be a strange cough in that there's not a lot of mucus. It's like nearly a barking cough. And a lot of people who have it don't have any mucus, so the chest seems to be clear. And what makes me think that then is happening is that it's actually the tissue of the lungs has become inflamed and is just, that's what's causing the cough. I suppose there's two ways of approaching it, Patricia. Firstly, anyway, I would recommend for either, whether it's a dry cough and tickly and barking, or whether it's got mucus, I would recommend for everybody to take NAC, which is short for N-acetylcysteine, and that is a fantastic natural anti-inflammatory for the lungs. Then I would say if you've got that mucousy cough, I would take the Dr. Clare Congestion Blend, and if you have a dry cough, I would take the Dr. Clare Mucotone. And the Mucotone is better, really, in that it's got herbs in there that will support and boost your immune system function, whereas the Congestion Blend really is more about drying up the mucus. So kind of judge yourself which one you feel would be the best suited to that. And then I'm also recommending that people take a cough bottle when they've got the cough, just to soothe them, because you know when you go into those paroxysms of coughing and you can't stop, I think that nearly sets up it irritates all that tissue even more, so you're more likely then to cough. And I've been taking the Comvita Manuka Honey Elixir. I love that one. But also another lovely one that I've taken in the past is the Pucca elderberry syrup, and that's another very good one. And then the last one that's quite good as well is the Irish Botanical, the botanical syrup. So the three of those are very good cough bottles, and I don't take them as they recommend. I take them when I start coughing to try and suppress the cough mechanism and to prevent myself getting all inflamed and irritated from too much coughing.
Yeah, like I saw one of the questions in was somebody was saying that it's a dry cough, exactly, a hacking cough, exactly what you described. And this listener said her ribs are even sore from the coughing. Yeah, and I mean,
I've got customers who've had it for a month now, Patricia, so it does seem to be very lingering.
Yeah.
And I know that after COVID, there was a lot of people who had respiratory difficulties after COVID, and I've never been able to find a professional who's given me a good reason for it, but I think there are receptors in the lungs that I think must be damaged by the spike protein of COVID. They're called ACE receptors. And they're responsible for kidneys as well, because I would have seen a huge amount of kidney infections from people after COVID, or even sometimes after getting the COVID vaccine. And I wonder, is it something to do with that? Have those receptors been damaged in some way? So, like, I have developed asthma from COVID, where I had absolutely no COVID symptoms whatsoever, but I did develop asthma as a result of it. So it's definitely, whatever is going around, it's damaging, I think, at a very cellular level in the lungs.
Yeah, it's still all so new. I mean, I know we've come out from the pandemic, but we're still only learning about it.
Absolutely, actually, and I was just saying to John Paul as well, for the first time, actually, really publicly, the inquiry in the UK now, they're talking about openly about COVID more than likely being, a man-made virus that was escaped from the labs in Wuhan. So you see, if it's been man-made, it's not like something that would have evolved naturally, and I'd say it's just extremely sticky. It's been probably engineered to be very infectious, which COVID was, and very sticky. So we just have to learn how to deal with the fallout now.
Yeah. Okay, Mary's on to say, hi Patricia, could you ask Anneliese, I've been diagnosed with diverticulitis. I've been prescribed Alflorix probiotic. The diagnosis can interrupt my daily routine without going into horrible details, but just one is uncontrollable flatulence. Could you please ask Anneliese what you would recommend? Any advice, please? Diverticulitis.
Okay, so they may or may not be related in actual fact. So diverticulitis is where the smooth muscle of the intestine becomes weak and it blows out into sort of kind of a little pouch. So that muscle should be very strong because the job of that muscle is to contract and relax to be able to push out waste matter when you go to the loo. But if it becomes weak and you get little pouches, sometimes food or other undigested particles can get stuck in there and then it rots and it gets infected. And that's what diverticulitis is. It's when the diverticulosis is where the pouches form and itis is where it becomes inflamed and infected. So mostly it's treated with an antibiotic, and a lot of people who take antibiotics actually would develop flatulence afterwards because it affects the population of bacteria in the colon. So the first thing I would recommend, now it sounds to me like this person as well possibly is running to the loo if it's saying it affects their life. Most people with diverticulitis generally would suffer more constipation, and then some people possibly would have diarrhea. So I think you need to look at a full kind of a gut healing approach to the problem, which would be, first and foremostly, make sure that you're having a well-formed bowel movement every day. So if you've got diarrhea, take something like Saccharomyces boulardii, which is a probiotic particularly good for people who suffer from IBS diarrhea. And then if it's more constipation, make sure that you have a daily bowel movement by taking either a natural laxative like aloe vera or magnesium or rhubarb. And then the psyllium husk is a really good gentle fibre to help you go to the loo as a natural laxative without it being, explosive or urgent. So the psyllium husk you can buy in any health shop, and you just add a big spoon of it onto your porridge or breakfast cereal in the morning. So that resolves those two issues. Then you probably do need a type of probiotic, and Alflorex is one that's often recommended, but in my experience it's not enough because it's only one very particular strain of one type of bacteria, and especially after an antibiotic you need something that is going to replace all the other bacteria that have been damaged. So I'd go for something like the Udo Super 8 is very good, or they do an adult blend. BioCult is not a bad one. There's an excellent one by Nature's Plus called Immune Microbiome. They've got about 14 or 15 different strains of probiotic in there. So they're going to kind of replace all the ones that might have been damaged by the antibiotic. And then in terms of the flatulence, you can address that in two ways. The first way, long term, the other previous things I've mentioned will help. But in the short term, activated charcoal is really, really good if you suffer from flatulence. Now, it's a bit of pain in the neck because you have to take a teaspoon in a glass of water, drink it very quickly before you eat, and again about half an hour after you eat every meal. But it does mean that if you need to go out or you want to go somewhere and you don't want to be embarrassing yourself or worrying if you're going to have excess flatulence, it will definitely take care of that. So you can buy it in powder or capsules, and you'll get it in any health shop. It's called activated charcoal.
Okay, Mary's in Castlemagner. She has what she describes as a very itchy scalp. Now, she had a kidney removed a number of years ago. Could it be connected in any way? What would you advise for an itchy scalp?
It may or may not be. Probably not really, Patricia. So an itchy scalp, in my experience, is either an allergic kind of response to generally a chemical that's in your shampoo. The most common one is called sodium lauryl sulfate, and they add it to toothpaste and they add it to body washes and shampoo as a kind of a foaming agent. And a lot of people are allergic. So getting a shampoo without that in it would be the first step. There's two very good shampoos we normally recommend. One of them is called Hope's Relief, and the other one is the Dr. Vogel Neem shampoo. So they would be naturally free of sodium lauryl sulfate and other chemicals, and they're very soothing for an itchy scalp. If that doesn't shift it, then it's probably not that allergic dermatitis. It's probably more a fungal type of a dandruff that just is itchy as well. In that case, I recommend that people use grapefruit seed extract. You can buy it as a liquid. The company that do it, it's called Higher Nature Citricidal. And it comes in a liquid form that you can add to a small little bit of water, massage it into your scalp and let it sit in your scalp for about 15 minutes and wash your hair as usual. And that will clear up any kind of fungal stuff on the scalp. And once it's clear, you can maintain it and keep it clear by just adding a few drops of that citricidal to your normal shampoo.
Okay, stay on hair. Somebody's wondering what would be the cause of sudden hair fallout. I'm on a cholesterol tablet and I was recently on an antibiotic.
So it would be actually very common, Patricia, after having a bad viral infection or being ill. A lot of women experience it hormonally, so pregnancy, menopause. In actual fact, A lot of people who had COVID, particularly younger people as well, I noticed, had a lot of problems with the hair falling out and thinning and not growing back. So it's very, very common after being sick. I think if it's falling out and thinning on the scalp, the best one is the Norcrin. It's spelled Nourkrin. I've seen it work for lots of my customers, and actually I took it myself when my own hair started thinning, and it worked really well for me. And it's a type of a protein that's been discovered that seems to kickstart the hair follicles that have gone dormant and no longer growing back into growth phase. So you could try that, but if it's the quality of your hair that's suffering, you've plenty hair on your head, but it's just very weak and limp, then biotin is better for that. And you want a fairly high dose, about 5,000 micrograms, which you'll be able to get no problem in any health shop. And if you do feel that you're a little bit run down, taking a tonic is certainly no harm. The Source of Life Gold is great, but even just a general multivitamin, that'll give you lots of things to support hair growth and immune system function, like zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D. They'll all be very important for hair growth. You could just give yourself a little boost by taking that for a month or two as well.
Okay, hi Anneliese. I'm 60 years of age and suffering from night sweats of late while I was asleep. Now, I had my bloods done about 2 weeks ago and everything was fine. What would you recommend?
What Patricia age?
60.
60. Yeah, again, now, this is something I've only noticed with my customers, is that a lot of people are getting sweats, having had that bad virus recently, and the sweats are still remaining. So even 3 or 4 weeks later, they still, if they're doing anything of any type of exertion, they may end up getting sweats. So possibly, if you've had a virus recently, it's a fallout from that. Sometimes as well, if your immune system is battling something, you will get the sweats. And then the last reason that it could be is it could be hormonal, even at the age of 60, even after you've gone through the menopause. You could still get fluctuations in hormone levels at that age, especially if you're going through a very busy or a very stressful time. So if it is viral, I mean, again, that's mostly about supporting your immune system, taking a good supplement that has everything in there. Like I love the Nature's Plus Immune Boost is a really good one. One Nutrition do one called P4 Immune. It's really good. Another one is even just the BioNutri Elderberry Complex. That's great for an immune boost. But if you think it's more likely to be hormonal, Sage is your answer. It's fantastic for hot sweats if it's a hormonal.
Okay, and stay on menopause. Hi, could Anneliese help by suggesting something to help with menopausal weight? I'm not on any supplements at the moment. What would she suggest? Well, my only symptom is I'm very bloated.
Okay, so yeah, the bloating, definitely a probiotic would help with that, Patricia, I think. And some of there's actually a lovely supplement made by an Irish pharmacist lady, and they're called Fab U, and she does a menopause support that's made mainly from a type of mushroom with a few other bits added in there. And mushrooms are wonderful in a roundabout way for the gut. They really encourage the growth of the beneficial bacteria in our gut. Plus you get all the other benefits from it as well. So that could be something that might help with the bloating. I think also our digestion as we get a bit older becomes less efficient. So taking a digestive enzyme with your food can cut down on bloating. And you'll get very basic ones and very complex ones in the health shop. They'll be able to help you decide which the best one for you is. But the weight, I actually was listening to a very interesting American doctor talk about weight in menopause, and really, like for women, our metabolism slows down hugely, but we also start putting weight on around the middle, and it's actually a very healthy type of weight if it's not of excess, because it actually starts producing a little bit of estrogen, that weight that we have around the middle. So it does help prop up our own dropping hormone levels. And she also made the point that it's exceptionally hard to lose the weight once you're menopausal. So my own experience with clients and customers, I think the best thing to do really is to cut down on carbohydrates. So cut out your bread, your pasta, your rice, all of your sweet things, and just make sure that your diet is full of good quality proteins and lots of vegetables.
Okay. Thanks a million. That is Anneliese Roussel, and Anneliese will put up all of the items that she mentioned today on her website, healthhubstore.com, as heard on the radio. And John Paul will put it up as a separate podcast here on C103.